Gentlemen, let's talk about what these hoes want. So, people have been talking in the manosphere. You know, I watched a video a little bit ago, and this guy had a few bimbos in front of him. I never pay attention to these sort of videos because I really don't give a damn about what the hoes got to say. But in this particular video, I mean, it was a short, so I figured, let me just watch it, you know. I watched the video, and, you know, men are going crazy. Men are going crazy because the women are seemingly divorcing everybody, right? You got guys out here that are worth literally billions of dollars, and the women are initializing divorce, not just because of the money. Yeah, I mean, they'll enjoy the money, but that's ultimately not gonna make the women happy. And the women are divorcing the guys that have big muscles. And you know, for those who spend a lot of time at the gym, yeah, you know, being in shape, it does attract women. They'll want to bang you, but ultimately, that's not what they want either. And you can be tall, and the women will file for divorce. So you can be tall, strong, you can have money, the women will file for divorce. So what's going on here? They say, well, you know, you can't keep a woman happy. And, you know, it shouldn't be your job to keep a woman happy. You know, it shouldn't be your job to do any of it. You keep yourself happy. You know, that's the MGTOW way. That's live for yourself, you know. Why spend your life trying to make somebody else happy? You know, putting your worth or attaching your self-worth to theirs. It's not worth it. But what I want to get at in this video here is, you know, what really does keep the women happy, because what women want you to be in this modern society, you can't be. You cannot be the man that women want you to be. Let me explain. Women are out for an adventure. They're childish. What they really want is a man that operates outside the boundaries of society. See, they have this dream, this idea. You know, women have this desire to find a man that is gonna skip the entire social order. And so she looks for this man that is willing to try and get away with shit, you know. She looks for the man that tries to beat the system, or that is constantly doing something to beat the system. You see? And you know, if she finds that guy, that's it. That's the one, you know. So the charlatans, you know, the ones that are always scheming, right? The crooks. That's really what they want. You know, they want a man that is just like them. Women want a man that is just like them. Remember, the women pride themselves on receiving things for free. Whereas, you know, you as a man, as a normal functioning man, you come out here and you work, you know, and you produce, and your production gives you a sense of pride. You see, your production gives you a sense of pride and a sense of self-worth. In many cases, you know, people have attached themselves to their ability to produce, if not for society, at least for themselves. You know, produce something beautiful, something of value, whether it's a work of art, you know, whether it's mending a garden patch or a garment of clothing. You know, it's you know, it's it's in a normal functioning man to feel pride, the old fashioned pride, you know, the kind of pride that says, you know, I'm worth something. I'm able to do this one thing that most people are not willing to do or able to do, and that sets me apart from the rest. And as a result, I get this feeling in my chest, this feeling of satisfaction, this feeling that, you know, I've accomplished something, and I can smile about that. I can feel good about that, you know. But the women, they don't relate to that. They can't relate to that. Their biology, their physiognomy, or rather their physiology, excuse me, it's the correct word. Their physiology does not allow them to feel the sense of pride. You see, this feelings of grandeur that a man gets. And I'm not being megalomaniac here. I'm just assuming that most men, and I think I have reason enough to assume this, most men who have worked hard and have accomplished something of value can relate to this. But the women, like I said, the women, they pride themselves on beating the system, on getting shit for free. That's really their satisfaction. And so they look for a man that is just like them. They look for a man that is constantly scheming to beat the system. And if that man just happens to get, you know, caught up in that system, right, where he might be sent off to jail somewhere or whatever, you know, for many years, she'll wait for him. She will wait for him. Yeah, she'll be out here, you know, she'll bang other guys, but the minute that guy comes out, of prison, she'll dump the sucker for him. And you know, it's the way they do it. It's the way they do it. So that's what makes them happy. It's this idea that you know, that they're gonna find this guy that is able to figure it all out, right? Is able to figure her out without her saying anything. You know, figure out her way of thinking, right? The guy that is sharp enough to figure out the way she thinks without her saying anything. That's why, you know, women create drama. They create drama, and, you know, then they go silent and they want you to figure things out. And you're out there wondering, well, you know, what the hell is wrong with her? You know, what's going on here? You know, so in her mind, if you're not able to figure her out, then you're not that guy that's able to beat the system. You see, you're not that guy that's able to beat the system because you're not even smart enough to figure her out. See, I mean, you can be a top-notch computer programmer. You know, you can be you name it. You can be a high-level intellectual. You know, whether from the left or the right or unrelated to politics, right? You can be top of the line in your field, whatever that field may be, and she will dump you like a bag of hot rocks for a thug that is able to entertain her with conversation, right? Where she comes up with some bullshit and he's able to counteract or deflect or play with her conversation, you see. And so this is what makes a man valuable in a woman's mind. The fact that he can manipulate words to please her. And so the pimps, you know, that's really what they do. They sell conversation to these women. It's a dangerous game. And I mean, if you do it well enough, you see, the women, they'll never betray you. You know, their betrayal, a woman's betrayal, is reserved for the square. A woman's betrayal is reserved for the man that is straight thinking, the man that follows the social norms, the social order, you see, they'll quickly find a way to do away with you. You see, because in her mind, you are a low-value individual. That's why you can be a pimp and be fat, or you can be a pimp and be ugly or short or whatever, because she's after that conversation. And in her mind, if you can talk, you see, if you can talk, and if you can give her the conversation that she wants, if you can convince her, or rather if you can show that you're the man that is capable of seeing outside the system, you see, beating the system, so as to get away with free shit, then you're in, and this creates value in her mind. For most of us, I mean, most normal men, we know that, you know, that there are rules to be followed, you see, and that we better off play within those rules, because there's a price to pay if we don't, you see. And I mean, people are constantly beating this system, you know, so especially when new technology comes along, right? People are always, you know, there's always a gray area, right? In many, and by technology I mean the way of doing things, right? The way in which things are achieved in society, right? Say, for example, the computer is invented, right? The internet comes along, and, you know, a law-abiding citizen will use these tools and resources to provide value for others and to gain something in return through legal means. But the crooks will find ways to not commercialize the internet, but profit from it by way of theft, by way of deception. And so this is what attracts the women. You see, this sort of pushing the boundaries of what's possible to get away with things. And so, I mean, you see the music videos where the women in the music videos, they find this attractive guy that's got excuse me, somewhat of a beard or whatever, and but, you know, he could be somewhat tall, but, you know, and muscular. But what really matters to her is that, hey, in the video they're running away from the police, and they're getting away with it. They're getting away with, you know, or he's getting away from the police successfully, evading law authority. So this idea that, you know, that they're going to successfully evade authority, you see, and operate outside the system, this really turns her on. Again, this is not something that a normal man, a gentleman, to say, you know, to say the way it should be said. This is not the way that a gentleman operates. You see, a gentleman learns the laws, operates within the natural law also, right? Natural law, which is very important. Natural law that says that, you know, you do unto others as you would have done them, as you would have them do unto you, right? Or treat others the way you like to be treated, right? Don't put any, you know, don't do any harmful things out there, because everything comes back, you know, karma, right? So most women are ignorant of all this, and they think they're gonna get away with it, you see. And it you know, they're really out here looking for that man. They really are out here looking for that man. And so, I mean, I watched another content producer the other day. There's this guy. It's one of my favorite channels in the Hispanic community. This guy. There are two guys. One of them posted a video on TikTok talking about, or rather, it was a tutorial on how to steal from Walmart, how to walk away with products from Walmart without paying. All right, this was on TikTok, and this other channel, the channel that I follow, did a response video on this sort of fuckery, right? And he said, listen, man, you know, you're Hispanic, you come to this country, you know, people are looking at you or what you do. What you're doing is fucking wrong. You know, you're making it hard for the other immigrants, the vast majority of immigrants that are just out here working, you know, that are just out here bringing something of value to the country and providing for their families. This is wrong. It's fucked up, you know. And so my favorite channel, you know, the one that I was following, the one where I happened to watch this response video, I mean, he couldn't understand why this thug had a girl with him living in the van, right? They live in a fucking van, and she seems to be happy. You know, she seems to be happy with him. So there's this guy, has no job, lives in a fucking van, and, you know, steals with her from a large retailer, right? And she's there, you know, stuck to him like flies on shit. And it's all because of this idea, right? To her, this is all an adventure. And it's an adventure also because she knows she's not gonna get punished, you know. She's very unlikely to get punished for any of this, you know, for being an accomplice in this sort of crime, right? To her, it's all fun and games. You see, this is the lifestyle that she wants to live. Even though they're broke, you know, they're living in a van, but her pussy gets wet for him because this is the kind of guy that she's after. You know, the kind of guy that's not going to follow the rules and the norms set in a society by the powers that be, whatever those powers may be, or whatever the reasoning behind the laws that are in place may be. It is true that some laws are unfair, that some may even be draconian legislation, right? Draconian laws, right? But for the most part, you know, laws are a double-edged sword, right? Most ordinances and pieces of legislation have a good side to them, right? A side that prevents fuckery. But the women don't see it that way. They see the legal system as something to be played with. You see, there are no rules, no laws, and the man that's willing to do away with it all and to just say, you know, fuck society, I'm gonna beat the system. That's the man they're looking for. So it doesn't matter if you're wealthy. You know, it doesn't matter if you're you know, super muscular. It doesn't matter if you're the top man in your field. As long as she sees in you that there's a guy that's willing to operate outside the boundaries set by society, you know, she sees in you an opportunity to come up socially, you see, and for her, in her mind, there's pride in that. You know, there's pride in, and there's strength in her mind. There is also strength in that, in you being able to get away or pull a fast one on the rest of society. There's strength in that. Now, we all know that most of these thugs don't make it. Long term, they don't. They're just losers. But this is the sort of fun that they seek. You see? And as for me, I'm not about to break any rules for bitches. It's not my style. I've done okay for myself. You know, following most of the rules that are out here in society, you know. Can't follow them all because, you know, sometimes you break them without even knowing that you're breaking them. And sometimes they're just too unfair to follow, you know. And sometimes, actually a lot of times, the government doesn't play fair. But remember, this is the government that women want. They can't live without it. So in a sense, they create legislation. They create legislation by victimizing themselves, and so the powers that be cater to them. So what an ironic twist, right? The fact that that they bring about the legislation or the laws that they themselves want to break.